You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday here in the Quad Cities, Friday, October 3rd. Happy Friday, everyone. It is another high school football Friday, and we are here live at Moline High School. New look Browning Field. It looks amazing. It feels amazing, except for the fact that it's really, really hot. We got a lot coming up in the show. Coming up in just a moment, you see to my left, Athletic Director Todd Thompson will join us here at Moline. Also, Head Coach Mike Morrissey. Sprinting over as fast as he can from the high school right now, so we'll talk to him coming up. The boys from View from the West will take a look at everything we need to know from the Illinois side of the river when it comes to Week 6 of the high school football season. And then Tom Johnston from the Quad City Times, Dispatch, Rock Island Argus will join us around 11:15 as well to chat about the week that is in high school football. But we're going to start here at Moline, and it's Rock Island versus Moline. It's the rivalry. It's, I think, the 118th straight meeting between the two schools or something like that. Thank you for letting me come crash the park. Morrissey Field looks really nice.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. It's I've heard it got a new name.
Yeah, it looks great. We'll start with the actual facilities here, and obviously there was a bunch of excitement with it as well. The field looks great. There's restrooms you can go into. There's no porta potties anymore. Kind of talk about everything that's gone on here, and I kind of joke with you guys, but I came in here, I'm like, Todd, this pops. Like, it looks really, really nice.
Yeah, it's obviously the field, and then we had to redo the entire track. We have a brand new concession stand where people aren't walking all over each other all the time, and the bathrooms don't have troughs in them anymore. So it's
We're classy here at Moline now.
I feel like everybody's the most impressive thing is the restrooms.
It is.
But the field's great. Obviously, it allows our teams to be able to practice and do things a little bit more than what we don't have raccoon problems this year, so that's good.
Can you talk about that? Because I think a lot of people think, wow, the football program got this. And like it can be used not just by teams, it can be used by other teams as well. We come out here and it took one rainstorm and some mud for it to just not look great the rest of the way. It does a lot for everything when it comes to Moline High School, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you drive by on the Avenue of the Cities, you'll see the lights on a lot late at night. We've had junior high soccer games here, and you can barely even tell that there's soccer lines on there, but there are. The band's been out here practicing from 6 to 8 o'clock at night, so they get to utilize the field a lot. We will, once the weather breaks, I'm sure even baseball will be out here, things like that, to be able to start doing some open gyms. So it is a utility field for our community.
I want to give you a chance to kiss the administration's booty, and I mean this in a nice way. Like, without the support of the administration and the school, you can't do these kind of things. And we talked when I got here about having an administration that's going to support what you guys want to do and vice versa. Kind of talk about that, because it starts from the top down, doesn't it?
Yeah, Dr. Savage, Mr. Vince Gallo, he's our new CFO. He was an athlete in high school, and he understands kind of that importance of what that is to a community. So one of the major projects that we started with was obviously this one, because pretty much all eyes are on Browning Field these days. So it was with his support is really kind of what pushed us over the top and made this happen. He was like I mentioned, he was an athlete. He from up in Joliet Catholic, so he kind of was like, he walked into this and was like, this needs to be addressed. So it was great to have his support, and obviously the school board, that when they passed it, it was all go.
You look at this too, and it was good before when it came to traditional, that kind of stuff. But you come here and you see the football field, but then there's Wharton Fieldhouse in the background, and like it just visually, like you can see not just what Moline athletics is, but maybe also what it was as well. Like it kind of ties in history. I thought Geneseo did a great job because they renovated, but they kept the tradition with the victory bell and all this kind of, and I feel like here is kind of the same thing. Obviously the field looks a lot different and you can pee in peace, but
Yes.
but there's the Wharton Field House is still there. It looks like you guys did a good job of tying in the historic side of what goes on here with the newness as well.
Yeah, I think that was probably the number one question mark from the community is like, well, how can you go to turf? Is, Browning's the last one. And we were like, yeah, it is the last one, but
There's a reason why it's the
yeah,
last one.
it was a disadvantage to our student athletes. And so, but now everybody that comes to the games and they're like, wow, it pops and it overall it just turned out amazing, especially with the track being done now. I know a couple games ago we didn't have the lines on the track and things like that. So now it is, it's pretty much complete. They're still doing some work behind the visiting bleachers for the track events. Field events and things like that, but it's getting closer and closer every day.
I'm assuming it makes it easier for game days. Not that I want your life to be any easier, but just in general, everyone's. Obviously, you're not painting it, you're not all those kind of things. Kind of talk about what it means when it comes to game days and big games, and Rock Island coming here tonight, and a ton of people coming here tonight. What does it mean? It's got to help out that way too, doesn't it?
Well, it allows us to focus on other areas too. It's he's not having to, like you said, paint the M. We don't have parents out here at 9 o'clock at night with the lights on trying to paint the M's in the end zones and things like that. So it allows us to focus on the other aspects of things that kind of were neglected in the past at Browning Field. So I know Al loves it. He's not out here cutting grass and making sure everything's pretty, so he can focus on the other aspects of just making sure everything is ready to go for our community and the visiting fans.
Todd Thompson, athletic director here at Moline, joining us right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. It is a big night. It's Rocky versus Moline. We'll get into that in a minute, but what is a game, obviously, besides being annoyed by me and having to come and hang out with me for a little bit, what is a game day like, not just here, but at the school? And it's not just any game week, it's Rocky game week.
You're right. It's every Fridays are probably they're long days, especially with home football. I think for everyone, not just myself, but Morrissey and his staff and even our athletic office and our main office, because they all the administration comes to these games and helps out for security and things like that. So it's long. We're expecting a big crowd, obviously, with Moline Rock Island. I think you're going to expect a big crowd no matter what the games look like. I just think it's that rivalry, like you said, of the longest one in Illinois.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk with Mike Morrissey here in a little bit, but when you look at this football team and obviously an early season loss against a really good team, and we talked about it, I don't think people realize it's a young football team. It's playing really good football right now. Always smiling when you're athletic director and your team goes down to Quincy and shuts a team out. That doesn't happen very often. What do you see? What do you like about this year's team?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody was expecting that from that game, but obviously Mike and his staff put in the time, and I think it shows. These are the things that when you win like that and you're sitting at challenging yourself early in the season, I think is one of the things that Mike does really well is we don't have an easy game in our first two games. Those are both challenging games, and I think it prepares our kids to have the battles against Geneseo and have the battles against Quincy and things like that. So overall I think he does a good job of balancing what he has, but the team is young and the future looks bright, as they would say. You
look at rivalries around the Western Big Six, and obviously Moline Rock Island is a big one. UT Moline is always great as well, and Rocky and there's so many great rivalries, but this is the one that people kind of point to. It's the longest running rivalry, all of those kind of things. Is Rocky Week different for you guys?
Yeah, I just think everybody's a little bit more amped up. I'm glad it's not homecoming week also, so that would throw in a different mix. But the community probably a little bit more. People want to be put on the pass list and things like that. So everybody's just wanting to get probably a visual of the field with Rocky, and this is maybe the one game. If they can only make it to one, this might be the one that they come to. And we know we're going to get Rocky's best. Like, we're going to get UT's best, and we're going to get, Galesburg's best and Alleman's best. So it's they're probably going to, be a little amped up for this game. I think probably overall they've heard the rumors on the streets where it's, it might not be as close as it has been in the past. but that's probably going to even amp them up even more. So we got to come out ready to play.
Absolutely. I want to look big picture with you before I get you out of here, because you look at, there's been a state championship in basketball in recent years, and baseball team's always successful. Softball team does. I mean, you go down the line, track. I mean, I don't want to leave anybody else, but Moline athletics is at a good spot right now. And I don't want to give you any credit. I'm not going
don't
to.
deserve it.
But can you talk to me big picture wise? You look at facilities, you look at success, you look at participation, even with numbers up and all those kind of things. It's at a good thing, and I think the entire community has to be proud of kind of what Moline athletics is right now.
Yeah, there's definitely some serious pride. We get calls all the time. There's books about Wharton Fieldhouse, and there's books about all these different historical things. I know Kevin Gorgel, one of the coaches, just did the history of Moline football. So he compiled a big list of all the accolades and things like that. And Moline athletics is always just we're a large school for this area, and we want to make sure that the kids are accommodated for what they need. We needed this field. We need the upgrades on the baseball fields and the softball fields and things like that. So we don't only want to just open it up to our kids. It's like we want people when they visit here to just be like, wow, Moline cares about their athletics. And I think they're starting to see that now with this field and the history of kind of what we've done.
You kind of mentioned a little bit. I was going to ask you, what's next? Do we know what's next? What's the hopes? What can you say? What can you not say? Don't get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, I don't. There's
more.
Yes, there's meetings going on now.
Nobody's watching. Just tell me.
Yeah,
okay.
About what the next steps are. So hopefully here in the next couple months we can kind of present what that's going to be. There's nothing really decided on what and where and how quite yet, but it's just the beginning stages that we're coming up with ideas and talking with coaches right now.
Just to have those meetings and those ideas has to be encouraging and fun, isn't it? You kind of smile, but that's a lot better than the alternative. Talk about that, because it is exciting to think of what more can be done to help the athletic experience at Moline High School.
Yeah, and I think in the past they might have had these meetings, but there was always that, that thought in the back of your mind, well, this is a waste of time. And now, even, when we started having talks about this, I think everybody was like, okay, sure, we'll have another talk about it and we'll redo these things. But now when, the shovel hit the dirt, as they would say, people were like, oh, this is real. And now that they see a finished product, everybody's like, okay, well, maybe when we do go on to the next steps, this is going to be a real thing. And at the end of the day, it comes down to our administration, Dr. Savage, Vince Gallo, and our school board making those things happen.
Thousands of people probably coming here to Browning Field tonight. What do you tell people? Obviously, a bunch of people. It's a great rivalry. It should be a great night for football. Keep it that way and make sure it's a great night, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's Moline Rocky, so no matter what, we're going to make sure that we load up on everything that we have. We have extra concession workers, we have extra security, we have extra police officers, and things like that. And we try to keep the student fans separated a little bit.
Sure.
So we want to get through with a clean night. And I know Rocky's administration, they're great. They're going to bring over 3 or 4 administrators to kind of stay on their side. So we appreciate that from their athletic department and making that happen.
Before I let you go, you talked about being encouraged by this team, and there's 4 more games left in the regular season. And I think, I want to say Mike Morrissey was on View from the West with us, and he mentioned how, yes, conference championships are important, but there's a bigger picture when it comes to where Moline football wants to be. How excited are you, not just take off the athletic director hat, put on the Moline fan hat,
sure,
to kind of see where this team can go this year and maybe in the next couple years ahead?
Yeah, I think we need to take that next step. I think even Coach Morrissey would say that, that second round playoff game has always been kind of a hiccup for us. So we were close a couple years ago up at Yorkville, and I think now we hope we can finish the season 8-1, host a playoff game here, and put us in that position again. And I think if you keep putting yourself in that position of getting to that level or in that stage of the playoffs, then you're going to get there.
Yeah.
And he's, like I said, he's putting in the work. His kids are putting in the work. His staff's putting in the work. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
I think it's mainly his staff, because he didn't do that much. I mean, there's Gorgel and those guys that do most of the heavy lifting, isn't it?
I see him at practice, and I'm like, is Coach Morrissey here? I'm not sure what's going on. And then I hear him. He's playing quarterback.
Some would think he's shaving his legs, but I'm not going to get into that. We'll leave that alone until he gets here.
Yeah.
And then we'll make fun of him about that as well. So, hey, I appreciate you stopping by and doing this.
No problem.
And
Thank you.
let me hang out here at this really cool new stadium.
Yep, I got to go.
I'll leave it nice.
I got to go do some work now.
Yeah,
concession stand.
There you go. So we got more to get to. Coming up after the break, Mike Morrissey will join us. In a little bit, we'll have the boys from View from the West talking about everything you need to know for Week 5 of the high school football season on the Illinois side. Then Tom Johnston later in the show will talk about some of the Iowa side action and a whole bunch more. We'll pick some college football games with TJ and a bunch more. So you're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday here in the Quad Cities at Browning Field in Moline. Speaking of, we're right up the street from us right here, Hungry Hobo. That's where we'll leave you. We'll go to break with a great sponsor in Hungry Hobo. We'll be right back. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here in the Quad Cities. We are here at Browning Field in Moline. The one and only Mike Morrissey has joined us. You're welcome for getting you out of school and class. You are more excited than I think my kids are when they have a snow day.
Sometimes you just get that feel, especially on a Friday, where it's like, gosh, you know, you're there and you're thinking about nothing but the game that night. And so, yeah, you did become my best friend this week. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you for that.
I think that'll do it for today's show. Yeah. There's no place else to go. It's Rocky. Did you know it's Rocky Moline?
Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
All right.
I've heard that from just about everybody a few times, yes.
Can you talk about it, like what the rivalry's like? Because I was just saying to Todd, like there's so many good rivalries in the Western Big Six. This is obviously one of the biggest, if not arguably the biggest. But Moline UT and Nolleman Rocky, all that kind of stuff. Great rivalries, but there's just something different. And I think historically, if you look at it, I think that's where you start.
Yeah, for sure.
The history side of it as well.
Well, I mean, just having this type of longevity where these two teams have played each other and these two communities have kind of viewed this as the rivalry, I think it's special. And from the very get-go, you know, when I got up here, I was indoctrinated into this real quick, like how important it is to everybody, what it means to everybody. And, you know, the only thing I could really compare it to at the time was like the PV Bettendorf, you know, like that where it's a mile away and you have that feel to it. And I think it's very similar and it's on a lot of different levels with that. But it's definitely something special. And I think our kids look forward to the opportunity to write their chapter, you know, in this history, in this historic rivalry. And, you know, so it's whether one team's doing well or one team's not doing well, it really doesn't make a difference because you're going to get the best of what they have to offer, regardless of the record. I think that's also what makes it pretty special. And then obviously, you know, you get the real Friday Night Light feel when the crowds come out, the communities come out and to support their kids, and that makes it exciting. That's good for both teams.
Absolutely. We want to talk more about the rivalry in a second in tonight's game. I want to talk to you about your team because an opening week loss and nothing to be ashamed of, a really good football team on the road in Missouri, and I think you learned a lot that game as well. And then you guys have been playing arguably some of the best football in the entire state. I know you don't like to hear that, but like I think the pundits and the experts like View from the West guys really. You went down to Quincy last week and shut out a really good Quincy team and one going away. What do you like about what your team is doing right now?
We're the complete opposite of week one, to be honest with you. I mean, we did. Obviously, Rockwood Summit's a really good football team, and they're 5-0 right now, and we felt like we were in control of that game at times and just couldn't put it away. So the penalties and the lack of discipline and those types of things, lack of execution that week was hard. But now coming back to the fundamentals and really making a push on that, and then being able to kind of expand what we're doing on both sides of the ball. Defensively, we found a niche with our personnel, and offensively, we're finding a niche with our personnel as far as what we can do and how we can expand. And so we don't look the exact same that we have necessarily in the past on both sides. But the kids, and honestly, we talked about it after the Geneseo game. You get a feel of these kids and kind of the bond that they're starting to create as well. And I think that's, honestly, the most rewarding part. The wins are great, and obviously going down to Quincy and being successful against a good team is always nice. But to see these guys and how they treat each other and how they get excited for each other, things are starting to come together when you see those things. The guys that are actually putting others before themselves and doing all those little things. And then the execution, the execution was at a high level in all three phases last week, and that was big. I think obviously we felt good about what we had going in last week and felt good about that, how it was going to turn out. But maybe not to that. If
level. I would have told you were winning the 39-0.
Yeah.
If I were you, would have thought I was nuts.
No way.
You mentioned all three facets, and I wanted to, because rightfully so, the offensive guys get the highlights.
Always.
To go down to Quincy, and they hadn't lost the 17-game conference winning streak, longest in history, all that kind of stuff, and they score a ton of points. And even you look back the week before that, I think he gave up a late touchdown to Geneseo.
Yes. Yep. Correct.
So almost two straight. Yep. I mean, when you're looking at 8 quarters, and you could probably even go back beyond that, but what is it with this defense? Because it's not, and they're not playing bad teams by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Talk about the defensive side, because I don't think that gets talked about maybe enough.
Yeah, and I mean, I put the shirt on today, right? So it's got the Moline defense. I get a lot of hard things from our coaching staff as well, because I am more offensive minded, but those guys put a lot of work in, and our kids get it. Like the communication level at practice with our kids defensively, when they're making their checks, they're making their adjustments, they're understanding what they're seeing from a formation standpoint, what those best plays that the teams run. It's been really, really impressive to watch over the last 3-4 weeks, and that's something that obviously our coaching staff gets a lot of credit for, our kids get a lot of credit for, and it's well deserved, because they played lights out. They're playing fast, they're not having to think so much, they are aggressive, they know what their job is, and then we've put ourselves in a position to get some interceptions last week, to force some fumbles, to score some defensive points, and I mean that makes it exciting. These kids get pumped for that stuff, and our staff, our defensive staff, does a really good job of making it important. They give out stickers, they give out T-shirts, they give out this stuff to kind of make like, hey, everything is earned, but when you earn it, you're going to be rewarded, not just with praise and the love that we pour onto these guys, but we'll throw you that shirt that we know you guys want to wear on Monday morning, those types of things. So it's been cool to see them really kind of find their niche over the last 3 weeks, and even to hold a Sterling team to 20 points was now you look at it, it's like, wow, that's pretty good. Because they've come on, especially the last few weeks
too.
Too.
A decent coach.
Yeah, he does a pretty good job, right?
Especially on the offensive
right?
as well.
Like he's been okay. Yeah. He's had a nice little run.
Yeah.
So anybody that questions John is out of their freaking mind. But he's done very well. So we play against a lot of coaches that are creative and that cause problems. Quincy was no different. Our guys were just able to fly around and make plays.
No, absolutely. Mike Morrissey joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. You look at it, and we'll get to offense, your specialty, but special teams as well has been really good, and it's something that and it. I'm not giving you any breaking news, but you have to be good in all three phases.
Yes.
And special teams can win you a game, sure as heck can lose you a game as well too. Talk about those guys on special teams and getting guys to buy in. I don't know if a lot of starters play on special teams or not. I don't know how you guys do it, but talk about what you do on special teams, and whatever it is working right now.
Well, we probably pour more time into special teams than most. We really do. Tony Frakes is our special teams coordinator. He dives into this thing and is always trying to find different ways to gain an advantage, whether it be field position wise or even to steal a possession. Like last week, ran a fake punt. We stole a possession and kind of kept control of the ball for a little while. Like, he's done a really good job of emphasizing the importance of that and taking on that role pretty much by himself. He wanted it, he took it, and is taking now our special teams to a whole nother level. And really, I mean, our guys have to earn an opportunity to be on special teams. Like, we do have some starters on there, obviously, but a lot of guys that work their tail off in practice, that is the reward. Like, you've earned a spot on our special teams, and you know how important it is because we spend a ton of time on it. So it's not like it's something that's neglected or kind of looked at as like, it's whatever. We put a ton of time in, and those kids buy into it, and that makes it, it's really, it becomes an exciting phase of football when you throw in fakes, you throw in different things that you're practicing, and then there's still a high demand for execution.
Okay, let's get to the offense because I love that kind of stuff. And you look
at
it,
I think waiting for that.
I think the offense. I mean, you start the season with a sophomore quarterback. I don't think, in my opinion, he's not a sophomore quarterback anymore. Like, when you're 5 games in and you're doing what you're doing, you're getting to that point. Mark Carey's a junior.
Yep.
But the running game is really good. The guys up front are fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think there's more to it. I'm going to pick you on that because I think there's more to this offense than what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been needed yet. And I hate to say that in a negative
way.
But I don't. Anybody who thinks that like Moline can just run the football and that's what they do, I think is mistaken. Talk about the offense as a whole and where it can maybe even go from here.
I mean, up front is obviously where it starts, and it's always started that way for us. And those guys have really come along, especially after week 1. Again, just kind of getting some continuity with each other, being on the field with each other, the communication piece. And then, our running backs, we have a stable of them that we all feel are very, very talented and can be plugged in pretty much at any time. Kaysen is definitely not a sophomore, in my opinion, at this point. Like, his football IQ is just off the charts.
Comes from a decent family.
He does. The pedigree is pretty freaking solid, and so that helps tremendously.
Like, learn your alphabet, and then here's the playbook.
And now we're gonna go 3-step drops. Like, this is what we're gonna go do next. Like, but I mean, he embraces that, and I think the kid just loves football. I think he genuinely it's football. I know he does school, and obviously he does, he does okay. Like, he might not love school necessarily, but I know he loves football, and I know he loves his teammates, and I know he loves being out here and doing the things that helps our team be successful and being a part of our program. So, obviously, we have practiced a lot of things that we haven't even started to kind of scratch the surface of yet, and as the confidence kind of gains with the knowledge and the kids being able to understand what their job is and responsibilities are on those things, we'll keep expanding, and that's the fun part. This week we have things that we're going to come out in that are a little bit different than we've done the last few weeks. So it's just continuing to build on that stuff, and when you have a talented quarterback and a kid like him that sees the game and understands the game, he can take on a little bit more than most, and that the cool part is we got him for 3 years, which is really rare because I think by the time he's a senior, he will be an elite level quarterback in this state. And
I don't want to put a cart ahead of horse because I think this year can be really fun, but that's the thing, you kind of look at the roster and you're like, there's some really good young talent on this team as well, and that I know goes back to your feeder programs.
Absolutely.
They kind of do the lower levels. Kind of talk to that because you're getting not a finished product, but you're getting a pretty good product when you're getting into the varsity level.
We're getting kids that believe, and then the cool part is Brad Hines took over our junior maroon program a few years ago. When there were 70 kids in the junior maroon, something like that. Now we have something like 180. So the numbers have just blown up, and him and everybody that's involved in our junior maroons is a big reason why, obviously. But then the feeder programs from the middle school, our freshman level, our JV level, they all run the same stuff. So there is a vertical alignment in place where these guys are used to doing the same things, and our kids buy in. And we have some really talented young kids at the sophomore level and the freshman level as well, as far as running backs, receivers, linemen, linebackers. I mean, we have some really good kids. So the more that they can absorb and grasp, the more that we can do on both sides of the ball really going forward. And that's kind of the fun part about being a high school football coach.
Mike Morrissey joining us right now on OTA. It is Rocky Moline tonight. And, and they're 1-4 in the season, got back on track last week with a nice victory. What do you see from Rock Island? And you did the cliches of throw the records out the window, blah, blah, blah. But it really is Rocky Moline. And if they're 1-4 coming in, boy, their season looks a lot better with a victory over Moline when it comes
without question.
You can turn a season around in a game like today. What do you see from them, and then what does your team need to guard against or protect against?
I mean, they still have good players. They still have some really good skill players where and we've talked about that all week, was like, okay, you can't be complacent because you think a team's not as good as you because they're 1-4. Like, they still have a kid that at any moment, if he catches a screen pass or gets loose in the run game, like, he's gone. It's over. And then all of a sudden, maybe we have a miscue on offense and now it's a 3 and out, and all of a sudden they have the ball to go up 2 scores. You just don't know. You can't sit there and say like, oh, well, we're just going to come in and roll. That's how it works. It's not how it works. And it's definitely not how it works against a team that we've played for over 100 years. Like, it just doesn't work like that. So we've talked to our guys all week long, and I think they understand it because they've had a really good week of practice about the sense of urgency to continue and knowing that these guys are dangerous and they should be playing more confident after last week. They had some really good things offensively. They had a lot of stops defensively. They looked like they were more aggressive and played faster defensively. So, I mean, there's some things that mentally with a young kid, like when you start having some of that success, it carries over to the next, and so unless we're able to kind of, balance that out and control things like, how we hope to control things, the confidence will still be there, and it'll be there early for sure.
You were on View from the West last week, right?
I was.
Instant Reacts Pod.
I was,
and
which is
it's
awesome.
Something that I listened to I understood it. It was conference championships are important, and I get all of that. But like you kind of push the goalpost, as I think the whole program has, to like we're looking at more than just conference championships. We need playoff victories and stuff like that. Can you talk about like this next 4 games and then beyond that, because these next 4 set up for a conference championship, but they can also set up for a home playoff game and those kind of things as well. The goals of this program are a Western Big Six championship. I'm not taking away from that, but they're more than just that, though, aren't they?
Oh, I don't think it's even a question. And obviously, you win a Western Big Six championship, that's awesome. You put it on the back of the playoff T-shirt and all that stuff. But when I talk to Grant Sibley's and Matthew Bailey's and Jasper Ogburns and the Banker boys, like
name drop.
I mean, they're all awesome kids. Like when I talk to those guys, they talk about the playoff wins. They don't talk about like, oh yeah, we won that conference title. Like, yeah, they won the conference, but that was the expectation a lot of the times. Like you set your standards to win the conference championship. Like that's always a goal, obviously. But we want to win playoff games. Like that's always been the thing. And that's, I view postseason success as the ultimate kind of barometer as far as where you guys are at and where our program is at. And so, we win playoff games and start getting consistent winning playoff games, which I feel like we're getting close to. It starts to become exciting, but then you want to win the next one and then get to the next step. And like, you can win playoff games without winning a conference championship. That's a realistic that we did it last year when we got, Quincy won it. We won the first round, but then lost them in the second round. Like, there's still things that you can do to finish off a season and feel really good about where we finished without being a conference champion. I think when I got here, I think that the conference championship talk was so overwhelming. And it's like, it's great. And I get it. I do. I understand it. But, our success, I believe, the way our kids look at it and what they talk about after their time in our program is based on postseason, for the most part.
It's amazing I've gotten this far into this segment without asking you about the field behind us. But,
oh, gosh, I know. I was going to bring it up right away, but I didn't.
It is really nice. And I'll be honest with you, I've driven past it. This is the first time I've come inside and checked it out. And I'm off tonight, so I have nothing to do tonight, so I may come back over and check it out.
I hope you do.
What has it done for your program? I know we've talked a lot about it, but seeing is believing with a lot of kids and everything, and to see it out here and to see it doesn't it remind those kids that the people upstairs and the upper ups kind of care?
Yes, absolutely. It does.
Kind of
well, I mean, that's the old saying, like actions speak louder than words.
Like said, but like
yes,
mean that, right?
Yes, like when you actually start to see things with your own eyes and see the track and see the field, like. I'm telling you, it's different when you're here now. It almost has a different feel to what it has the last few years. And I loved our grass field. I did. I really did. But having this.
When it was there. When it was
correct. When we had it, and it was structured out and looked nice.
When there wasn't brown everywhere. Then,
correct. Obviously different. But
when we said Browning Field and we were talking about the actual field being brown and actual Browning Field, that was the problem. So.
Yeah, that's prevalent. That was real. Yeah. But, I mean, it's little things that you take for granted. Like coming out and having numbers and hashes and lines that are consistent every single day, that you can have landmarks for your kids and being able to talk them through it, not worrying about if the grass is getting too long because our maintenance crew is pulled thin doing other things they need to be doing. So they don't cut our practice fields. Like, okay, well, that's okay. We're going to be the last on the totem pole with that stuff, as we should be. Yeah. But having this stuff, our kids are so appreciative of it. We do. Okay. We go nowhere else. Like, this is exactly where we're at all the time. Like, I'm telling you, if we could, like, we'd live here. Honestly, it's so different. And our kids are so appreciative, and our coaches are so appreciative. And I mean, even this last week, like Tyler Olson walked out maybe Monday or Tuesday, and he's just like, man, he's like, I don't know if this will ever get old. Like walking out to this thing, it's like it's that feel of just something special for our kids. And yes, obviously our district and our taxpayers have made a big commitment to this thing. And I mean, they might not understand fully just how much these kids appreciate this and how much all these other sports are going to be able to use this in the wintertime, in the springtime, like in the summer, to be able to take advantage of this thing. Like, it's not just going to be football. And I think that's the cool part that a lot of people don't realize maybe from, from looking out, they it's just a football field.
I'm like,
my gosh.
This affects the athletic department.
Everything.
Baseball will be over here.
Yes, as
at
they
some
should be.
point. Yeah.
Track, like especially like early on when the ground's hard and everything's cold still. Like you avoid shin splints by running on stuff like this.
Yes.
Like these are the little things that people don't understand, and but hopefully they do when they start to see their kid being able to take advantage of this.
Talk about how they did it, and you guys did it. I think you did it correctly, and so I use Geneseo's Bob Reed Field for an example.
Yeah,
it looks beautiful, but like the tradition's still there, and the
Yes.
victory bells. They did a great job of
Yes, for sure.
intertwining everything. I say the same thing here. I mean, the history is Wharton Fieldhouse. You
That's
see
it.
it and everything, and
That's it.
and it doesn't look. Besides the field and obviously the bathroom experience,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
nicer,
Yes.
and the concessions were probably a little nicer. But like other than that, like it does a good job, and because there is history
Yeah.
here as well. And I know that probably I don't want to say some of the older guys and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of the get off my lawn guys are
Sure.
like, we're not changing it. It's
Sure.
what we, but I think that you come here and you're like, not much has changed except for the
No.
experience for the kids, especially in
Correct.
And optically, I think it looks really nice.
Optically for sure. And like you stand up there and you look at all this stuff, and it still matches Wharton Fieldhouse.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like the concession stands, the bathrooms, the entrance gate. It still
Huge.
matches the
So
Fieldhouse.
important. Yep.
So when you stand up, up on our our bleachers, whatever, and you look out. You see Wharton in the backfield. Everything is matching. Everything looks clean. It just gives an aesthetic feel that is gorgeous. It really is. I mean, I can't, there's no other way to put it. Like it's beautiful. On Friday nights when the lights are on, Coach Thompson I think got a picture on a drone way up top. Oh my gosh, man! Like it gives you chills. Like it gives you goosebumps seeing it, and you're just so proud to be a part of something like this, and thankful to be here at this time when all these things are kind of happening.
I asked him what was next, and he's like, "Don't do that to me."
Yeah.
So we got through that question without me getting in too much trouble. Before I let you
Sounds
go,
about
you
right.
mentioned some of the guys, and we talk a lot about Matthew Bailey. I was up in I was up in Iowa City, and my son looked at me and was like, "Hey, the DePage kid."
Yeah, DePape.
And
Yeah.
DePape kid. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. I'm like, he's so. I know that like you're extremely proud of your guys moving on and
Yes.
doing at all levels,
Yes.
not just the D1 guys, but kind of talk to that because they all come back, but they all left a mark on this program.
Absolutely.
And they're continuing to. I'm sure you can point to young kids now and say, hey, look what he's doing.
Yes.
Like if you do this correctly, that could be you, right?
Without question. We use that example all the time. And I'm telling you, like, I say this, I know it's, again, a cliche thing, and I mean it because this is pretty much what hooked me on teaching and coaching, was seeing these guys come back to our house when we still lived in Davenport and visit my dad, and those connections that were made there,
Yeah.
just to share how they're doing and what's happening with them. Like those are the successes, those are the wins, in my opinion, that matter way more than anything else. And like I look at a kid like Will DePape. So I mean, he's going to Iowa City to play Iowa. He's traveling, and we beat Quincy last week down in Quincy. And I have messages from Will DePape on my phone before I even freaking check it about like, how congrats, how excited he was.
cool.
Like those things nobody else sees, and like, and I'm able to have those moments with these guys. I share it with all of our coaches because it's not just for me, it's for everybody. But those are special. Like those are big things. Or Adrian Cooper, Robert Donaldson, and Caden Banker sit on Friday nights in college, live streaming our games and talking to each other. It's a Friday night in college, and you're sitting there watching our football games like live stream. I mean, you can't tell me it doesn't mean something to these guys in some way, shape, or form, whether it was a connection with their teammates or a coach or just the community. Like it matters and it means something. And those things, I mean, I got emotional last week even talking to our kids about it because I was just so proud of those guys and them being associated with us and how much it meant. Those are the things that matter.
I need your help with something.
Yeah.
So we talk about the coaches in the Western Big Six and how good guys all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
I think athletic director-wise is the same way.
Oh, without
And
question.
so you got Todd over here.
Yep.
You know this guy over at United Township. It's a Harding fellow. I
Love
can't remember
him.
his first name.
Yeah.
Great human being. So they are going to do some friendly wagering on Moline and United Township games, starting in football and then moving throughout to basketball and into baseball.
Okay.
And they're going to use Bless Their Heart, my show, as a platform in which to do
No other way to go.
So if you thought of those two guys like gambling, and I don't say gambling, but like wagering and putting something on it, what are some fun things that like,
Wow.
is a loser shaving their head? Is there like a loser like wearing another person's mascot for the entire day?
I mean, I think
Give me some ideas.
I think some apparel would definitely be it. I'm not sure. I mean, Coach Thompson keeps it pretty short, and I saw Coach Harding the other day. I'm not sure how much he still got on top, so he may not even. That might be a win for him. Who I love. He's amazing, and they're very fortunate to have him. But I think this would be something that maybe the coaches on both sides could kind of get into a little bit. I'm sure, look, Nick is really creative. I'm sure he could think of some things.
Oh, God, is Nick creative.
I promise you we have guys on our staff that could think of some fun stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to be a part of something like this, to
I
maybe
we're
think of
gonna
the consequences.
We're taking the show to the Soul Bowl weekend for you guys. So the two will be on there. So we'll get Nick involved. We'll get Coach Morrissey involved as well.
Oh, I'd love it.
And we'll kind of figure out something fun. And then you got some real pressure. Forget about winning Western 6 or beating UT. You got to make sure your boss is happy.
That's the guy I'm not trying to piss off. That guy right there. So so as long as he's happy and I'm not doing anything too bad.
I say this at home all the time to the kids. I'm like, your mom. Like,
that's,
at work. Work wife. You gotta make sure he's happy. All right,
question.
Last one for you. So this is something that I've been talking about on the show this week. Early this week, our Jake Brenda is our cyclone expert.
Okay.
He's in the Des Moines area, and he just gradually he's going to Cincinnati this week.
Okay.
For the Iowa State game, and he's excited to try Skyline Chili. And he goes, yeah, have you always had it's not like the chili and cinnamon rolls that we grew up on. And I kind of stopped for a second. And I'm finding out that chili and cinnamon rolls
it's a real thing. Yeah.
So
I only knew that because I went to a wedding in Cincinnati. My one of my best friends is the head football coach at Pitt State, Tom Anthony. He married a Cincinnati girl.
Okay.
And so we were out there, and I heard her family talking about these things. Okay. We all did, and we were all kind of like, what? That none of that makes sense.
I thought he was messing with me.
None of it makes sense, but that is a thing. That is a real thing.
Have you done it?
No.
Would you do it?
I'm not a chili fan. Cinnamon rolls I love.
Okay.
Chili.
You're not a chili fan? I'm going to make fun
I
of you.
eat like a toddler.
I do
have a. I know.
I do too. I'm a chicken strips and fries.
Yes. I can live on burgers, man. Burgers, tacos, pizza. Just keep the rotation.
My wife's like, you get the same thing every place we go. I'm like, yeah, and it's good.
Great minds think alike. What's the problem?
And I'll say, sweetheart, you lovely, beautiful woman. I'm trying to there's times that she'll get something and she'll be like, oh, and they're like, well, yeah, because you tried something you didn't. There's every place we go, I'm going to get in trouble. We'll get like if we go to anniversary dinner, whatever, she gets a drink.
Yeah.
And it's like she will get the drink, she'll take a sip and go, I don't like it. I'm like, well, we just spent $12 on
Correct.
it. So
Minimum.
We got a way to
Absolutely.
drink that. So
Stay consistent. Look, know what you like. Go with it. Yes. I am with you.
Brother. Okay. So what I'm going to do is next week we're going to have. I'm contacting Julian Vandervelde. He's my food expert, and we're going to try it on the show. I don't know exactly how we're going to go about doing it. There's so many. I'm excited about it.
Are you a chili guy?
Oh yeah, I love chili.
And you like cinnamon rolls?
Yeah.
So you think I
can get the sweet and spice, the sweet stuff and the spicy, and you combine. I think it's going to be okay. I think, but I'm like you.
There's only one way to find out, man.
I'm like you. It's funny. Me having kids has made my horizon of food grow because I don't want to look like a kid.
Correct.
Like my son Charlie's like, Dad, have you tried this? Like whatever. Like he'll eat anything, and I'm like. Well, I guess
but you don't want to not because then they're going to be like, oh, well, I don't have to eat that. Dad's not eating.
I'm that parent that I'm like. Eat vegetables. You didn't. Shut up. Just
Correct.
Do as I say, not as I do.
We live that same life.
Yes, good.
We live the same life
hey,
for
man,
sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Thank you. And you can hang out the rest of the day if you want.
I love it.
I love it.
I got time. I got time, so let's do it.
Exactly. So we got more to get to. Coming up after the break, our guys from View from the West will join us to preview everything about week 6. Yeah, 6, man. The high school football season on the Illinois side. And then Tom Johnston, I hope, will eventually be here around 11:15 to talk about that and the Iowa side of the river as well. So a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday right here in the Quad Cities. We will be right back.
Give me the keys.
Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. Great week of high school football ahead, week 6. And if you're subscribed to View or to the Off the Air and you haven't subscribed to View from the West, shame on you guys. They're really doing a fantastic job. I take part of it every Friday night. We have a View from the West Instant Reacts podcast at 10:15. Coaches like Mike Morrissey. I think we had 6 or 7 different coaches last week. So they do a great job at 10:15. They also do a great job each and every Friday here on Off the Air, getting us set for the week that is of high school football. So without further ado, let's get to Greg and Mitch from View from the West. And it's that time of the week, my favorite time of the week. It's the boys from the View from the West, Mitch and Greg and Mitch, however you want to do it. Fellas, thanks for doing this, as always. I have a bone to pick with both of you guys.
Oh, great. Can't wait for this.
Well, like last week, I'm sitting in queue waiting to get into the fun show. And I got Jeremy Adolphson blasting me, the kids blasting me, and you guys are just poking the bear. Greg, you picked against him week 1.
Hey, that's ancient history now. No one remembers that. No, it's important to note that Jeremy asked us if the students could make a statement, if the players could make a statement. And Mitch and I just obliged. We just, we're letting the kids talk. That's all we did.
Mitch, look at you down there on the bottom of the screen, just acting like you're a perfect angel down there.
I was so happy when that happened. That was so funny.
You know what? And obviously I had Jeremy on a Monday. I was going to have him on anyways, but that helped. I love the fact that the kids listen. You know what I mean? I love the fact that like what you guys are doing on View from the West and I'm mooching off of during the week is really like resonating and all that kind of stuff. It's a bunch of fun and it is hard to pick games and all that kind of stuff. I was just trying to be, you guys were so confident. I just wanted to like rock the boat a little bit, but I loved it. So obviously week 6 of the high school football season. Before we get going, Mitch, View from the West this week, I just got done listening to it earlier today. I love this episode because y'all got your crystal ball out. Kind of explain what you guys did this week on View from the West.
Yeah, well, we did it a week earlier than we did this last year. Last year, we started in week 7 and just looked at the last 3 games of the year. This year, we just kind of got excited and wanted to do the last 4 weeks of the season. So what we did is we went through conference by conference, team by team, and laid out each of their next 4 weeks. And based on what their record is now and kind of looking at who their opponents were, we tried to predict how each team would finish the year, whether they would go 4-0, 3-1, 2-2, whatever. And just to kind of get that ball rolling a little bit as to who's in the playoff picture, who's getting in the playoff picture, who's not out of the playoff picture yet. So, yeah, this is always a fun episode. It was fun this year. You enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. And hopefully the audience enjoyed it as well. So just, again, trying to predict what's going to happen here in the next 4 weeks.
That's not going to get you guys in trouble at all. I can't fathom anybody taking any offense to that at all. I'm getting receipts. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to call you out every Friday night. I'm going to have coaches ready to go, all those kind of things. I want to start with the Western Big Six. And before we move forward, let's look back because we are at Browning Field right now. Obviously, we're recording this, but we're live at Browning Field. And, like, there's not more of an impressive team maybe in the state, in this area, than Moline. Greg, what they did last week, not just to beat Quincy, but to go on the road and shut them out, super impressive. Moline's got to be playing – they're playing really good football right now.
Yeah, well, Moline is the home of our player of the week this week. And Mark Carey, the running back from Moline, had 2 touchdowns on the road at Quincy. And, yeah, just getting that road win, but the way they did it, I think really kind of sent a statement to the rest of the Western Big Six. They're certainly in the driver's seat to now win it if they continue their winning ways. But I think just kind of the statement, the emphatic win that they got, it caught, I think, a lot of people's attention. So it's, they seem to be the clear-cut favorite, maybe the best team around right now. You got to win the rest of your schedule, but they certainly look good so far.
Moline feels good going into this game, and it's that rivalry game we always talk about, longest running rivalry in the state and all that kind of stuff. And Rock Island got back on track last week, Mitch. Is there a way? Is there a path forward for Rock Island winning tonight? Obviously feeling better about after last week, and their schedule is so tough off the bat. It's gonna be a tall task to come in and beat Moline tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Just like you mentioned, the way that Moline has been playing, not only to break Quincy's 17-game Western Big Six winning streak, but to shut them out. And I think that was the first time, Stockpile compiled this. I think it was 2007 or something that dynamic Quincy offense had been shut out, and certainly at home. Impossible? No, nothing's impossible. But I was so impressed with Moline's defense, forcing 4 turnovers in the second half of that Quincy game. We've talked about their running game, and they did it all without Eli Warren. Didn't really have to get into the passing game. So it is a tall task for Rocky. But they're coming off some momentum. They got that win last week against Alleman. They just have to continue to keep doing those little things right. It's a tough year for Rocky. It's going to be a tough game tonight against Moline. But, they got to take some progress where they can find it.
That's a professional. He said tonight against Moline. Nobody knows when we're recording this. That's a professional right there. So you got Quincy, Greg, coming off a shutout home loss, and then you got United Township coming off back-to-back heartbreaking losses. They are 2 plays away. I don't want to say 2 plays away because the Sterling game got away, but they're 2 large leads away from being 5-0. Which team tonight at the Soul Bowl, I don't want to say comes in more motivated or anything like that, but 2 teams that need to get back on track, do they not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you start looking at it and, both teams coming in with a lot of talent, and we've seen that talent shine through at points in this season early on. And then it's been tough for Quincy last week and for United Township the past 2 weeks. It's unexpected a little bit in the way that United Township lost both of those games, and unexpected in the way that Moline really ran away from Quincy at Quincy. So I think both teams are really trying to hit the reset button, find something. I like United Township at home. I think of any program in the Western Big Six, this United Township team and what Nick Welch has built, they deal with adversity, right? And they get through it. And I think early in the season, we talked about this UT team was getting wins that maybe they didn't get a year before, especially looking at week 1 in that LP game. I think now's the time to really hammer home, like, we're a different team. So now we've had 2 tough losses. You have to respond at home. I think this United Township team can do it. I really do. I think it's going to be a good game either way. But, I think it'll be something to watch for sure.
I think both teams play well. Mitch, your thoughts on that game, because you had United Township, and I did too. I just try to keep it until I am proven right, which I don't. This can be a tough task. I kind of keep that quiet. But you had UT winning it the conference this year. Your thoughts on tonight's game against Quincy?
Well, I think both teams are coming in 2 different places. Like you mentioned, UT coming off of 2 tough losses where they had 2-score leads in each game in the first half and fell. First time against Sterling, it got away from them. Last week against Geneseo, it was a back-and-forth game, and Geneseo won at the buzzer. Whereas Quincy, I would have to imagine Quincy's going to come into the Soul Bowl pretty angry, having lost 39-0 and breaking that streak. We saw... How do I want to put this? I think UT is a little bit can be exposed in the passing game, and Hunter Shuckman leads the Western Big Six in passing yards. I think this could be a game where Quincy gets back on track. I don't remember if I picked the winner of this game. If you guys are going UT for the sake of conversation, I think Quincy gets back on track here this week.
It's going to be a fascinating game. Two teams that need it. I think last week, quietly, in the fact that UT dropped their second straight heartbreaker, is that Geneseo picked up a big win. That's huge for them, Greg. They now go on the road and a winnable game at Galesburg, and they're starting to stack wins at Geneseo, and getting closer to being playoff eligible, and that's a good thing for Coach Furlong and company.
Yeah, I think that win last week is really kind of one of the almost like defining wins for Coach Furlong so far. I think when you start looking at this is a program in United Township that was expected to be a potential conference champion. And so for Geneseo to go on the road and have to fight from behind, I think that's a testament to Coach Furlong as much as it is the players, right? That they got themselves in that situation to win that football game. I think that win goes a long way for this program to know that, year in and year out, they're going to be in the hunt in the Western Big Six because of, what they can do there, what Coach Furlong is doing there. I think it's interesting to see that Geneseo and Sterling both have, what we would expect to be tune-up games going into week 7, which seems like a really big, evenly matched rivalry game between those two and Geneseo and Sterling. That game's great every year, but it feels like the parity between those two teams this year especially is right there. They're neck and neck.
And you look at it, both teams at 3 wins, I want to say. So they take care of business tonight. I got you. See, Mitch, you're better than I am. On Friday night, and they're sitting there at 4 wins, and then both of them meet next week with a chance to get playoff eligible. Mitch, just your thoughts on those two teams right now, because I think the last 2 weeks, take Moline maybe out of the mix, and the 2 most impressive victories were Sterling and Geneseo. Unfortunately, they both came at the hands of United Township. But your thoughts on those 2 teams right now as we reach the stretch drive of the season?
Yeah, when we talked on our episode when we were doing the crystal ball, after Moline, because I think Moline has the easiest 4-game stretch left to finish out the year, things really got tough. And Geneseo and Sterling are maybe 2 of the toughest 4-game stretches the rest of the season. And I think this conference will see some shuffling in the standings as the weeks go by, because on any Friday night, I think if you took Quincy, UT, Geneseo, and Sterling, you could see a different team every week. And that just makes it all that more interesting. So I would say I think Sterling has been playing better. Maybe not better than Geneseo. I don't want to put it that way. It's just when you go back to the UT game, how they played in that second half, then they blow out Galesburg last week. I think Sterling has maybe a little bit more momentum. It's a winnable game this week at Alleman, and then it's Sterling and Geneseo next week. So I expect there's still to be a lot of things to move around in the Western Big Six.
And I will say this before we wrap up the Western Big Six. A young man at Alleman hurt last week. The game was shortened in the third quarter. Great to hear, and we all heard it on Saturday, the next day, that he's doing well and all those kind of things, and he'll be fine, which is awesome. And I thought, guys, it was cool because the entire Quad Cities, that's what I love about it. Everybody reached out. Everybody was worried. Everybody was keeping an eye. I got so many text messages and, hey, how's he doing? And I'm getting them from like Iowa City and all over the place. So I thought that was cool. I love the Quad Cities coming together. Great news on his behalf. He should be completely fine. A very scary situation. It took him 45 minutes to kind of get the ambulance and take care of all that kind of stuff. So very, very good news. The best news of all last week is that he is going to be completely fine. The track, it's week 6. I still think week 5 was the greatest week ever. So take that, boys. But week 2, you can put week 2 in your pipe and never mind. So with that being said, this week not as headline grabbing, but some intriguing matchups. Mitch, I'm going to start with you. What pops out? What game do you like the most in the track?
I think on each division, there's an intriguing game. On the Mississippi side, I think it's Princeton going to Spring Valley Hall. Spring Valley Hall is still unbeaten in that division. Are they for real? I think we'll find out against a Princeton team that's probably going to come in pretty hot. Got just kind of physically beat up last week, and you don't see that from a Princeton team very often. I guess unless you're playing Monmouth Roseville the past 2 years. So if Princeton wants to kind of keep pace and try and catch Monmouth Roseville in those standings, they got to win a game like that. On the Rock side, I think it's Riverdale going to Erie Prophetstown. Can this be the year that Riverdale gets back to the playoffs? I think they're playing like they will, and I think this is a winnable game for the Rams. Erie Prophetstown's shown that they can play some offense. They put up a lot of points last week against Mercer County. Their defense has been solid all year, but Riverdale has really been impressive on the ground, and I expect them to win that game and get that playoff qualifying 5th win tonight.
And then Stockpile shaves his head. on the View from the West podcast. It's going to be the
That's
greatest
right.
thing ever. Greg, kind of, asked the same question. Is that game with Erie Prophetstown, Riverdale, kind of, maybe the most evenly matched or the closest game maybe this week?
Yeah, I think that, Riverdale's grabbed, the headlines because of what they're doing so far, but Erie Prophetstown has a lot of talent there. And, they lost the tough game to Newman a few weeks back. They lost a tough game to Rock Ridge. But I think, you never know, right? Like in these games, they're at home hosting a Riverdale team that has a lot of talent. But if Erie Prophetstown shows up and things go the right way, I think this could be a ball game. And you just never know. It's a week, right? The parity in the track rock, we've talked a lot about it. So I think that that's a game to kind of keep your eye on. What's, interesting to me is that any other year over the past 20 years, if you say Mercer County and Newman playing on a Saturday afternoon in week 6, that's going to be a great football game, right? And I don't know, times have changed. Things are different right now, and Mercer County's really struggling. I think Newman gets back on track in this one. And they, no doubt about it, they took a tough loss on the road at Rock Ridge, a very talented Rock Ridge team. But I think you saw, that really good Newman defense had everything they could handle in Schweigen and, Steele and Sowards and Tanner Dye and everybody. But I think that this Newman team gets back on track. And I think long-term, that loss at Rock Ridge helps them long run in the playoffs. I think if they get in the 1A playoffs and they're going to face some really tough teams, I think a battle like that will help them in the long run. I think otherwise, probably a tune-up type game for Monmouth Roseville going on the road to Sherrard. Kewanee and Mendota, both teams that don't have the record they want, but could certainly come away with a win. Mendota could get 2 wins in a row here, potentially, against Kewanee. So I think, not the high-end record-wise, but a game to keep your eye on because one of those teams that's struggling is going to grab a win.
You guys both mentioned Riverdale. I got to do the game last week with MC22, and they were extremely impressive running the football, and they just did it efficiently. Is the lineman of the week or the line of the week, the offensive line of the week, and Andy Furman over at Godfather's, awesome supporter of local athletics, supports View from the West, which is awesome. A great sponsor here of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, and I think that's really cool. Those guys up front did a great job moving the line, and there was times some of those running backs weren't touched for 5, 6, 7 yards before they got even touched, more or less tackled. So impressed with them. And here we are, guys. It's Orion Rock Ridge. And Greg, we did a whole long segment in the summer about rivalries. And Orion Rock Ridge were on that rivalry. And both are good teams. Rock Ridge is just on this different level, I think, right now than an Orion team that needs a victory. I guess I'll go back to you, Mitch, when it comes to that game. It's hard not to talk about the track and not talk about Rock Ridge because they are right now playing on this different level, maybe them in the Rock and Monmouth Roseville over in the Mississippi.
And don't forget, they'll meet up in week 8. So that'll be a really fun crossover that will most likely determine the overall track champion. Not that we crown that, but it would be both division representatives going at it. But yeah, I think you said it best that Rock Ridge is just playing at such a high level. I expect them to be a really, really solid contender in the 2A North playoffs. The way that they played, I mean, Greg saw it in person. We've seen how good that offense can be. For Orion, can they get Owen Voorhees the ball? Can Cale Filler find success through the air? They're going to have to be able to hang on to the ball and sustain drives through the air. But not many teams can do it against a Rock Ridge defense that they've got this year. So, it's a great rivalry, no doubt about it. You throw out the records because it's not like Orion can't win that game, but it is a tall task for sure.
Guys, I usually say
I really thought that Mitch was going to say, you saw how good that video looked. I really thought he was going to go there, but
if he was a good assistant, he would have said that, but he didn't say that because he's not a good assistant. Yep. But that's the different story for a different day. Guys, usually LLC, I say, hey, what do you like? I'm going to start because the Stark County Anawan Weathersfield game is 2 5-0 teams, and I don't know if we expected it from Stark County, which is shame on us because Coach Nord does a great job of getting his guys ready, and they might be younger. I think they're playing like 6 6 sophomores or something like that, and they're playing really good. And then Anawan Weathersfield just quietly playing good. And I thought maybe they get tested in a big-time way against Rushville Industry last week, and they passed that test with flying colors. I loved that game in the LLC. Greg, what do you see in the LLC? That game, another game, kind of take me through that conference, and what do you like?
Yeah, that game carries the headlines. Anawan Weathersfield in Stark County. Actually, that's a great rivalry game too that we have mentioned in the past. I really like that rivalry. Tonight it's in Anawan, which is a great place to watch high school football. Maybe
I didn't realize that.
One of my favorite. I love that location. I will say it's 2 5-0 teams. You look at comparative scores, and it appears that Anawan Weathersfield should be the favorite in this game. But I think that's the fun part of a rivalry, and that's the fun part of these battles in the division is Stark County. If they show up and play the way they've been playing, they can hang around and they can pull off a win here on the road at Anawan Weathersfield. Anawan Weathersfield is very tough, but it seems to me like this Stark County team has been playing great assignment football. They know their job and they know what they need to do. They're coached up well, and they've been in the right spots to make the right plays. So can they do that against a really talented Anawan Weathersfield team? I'm interested to find out, because that's a great rivalry game any year.
I know, Mitch, when you look at the other side, man, Farmington and Macomb, I have a feeling like if he wasn't slacking and what are you hanging out, you're partying in California or something like that. I don't know what Mitch is doing tonight, but you'd be watching that game. Talk about that game, because it's 2 impressive teams, really good programs, and a fantastic, might be the best game on the entire slate here in week 6.
Yeah, I think it really can be. 2 teams that have been playing so well. Farmington lost a lot last year, and they've maybe even looked better than they did last year, and doing it with underclassmen. They've got a freshman quarterback in Carson Noy who has been putting up impressive numbers every week. They've got a sophomore running back in Braden Brewer, and they've always got the utility man in Jack Ronwald, one of the best overall players that we cover on our show. On the flip side, you've got Macomb, who have played really well with Caden up at quarterback, putting up some huge numbers, and Drake May. So there is some star power on the field on Macomb's field, I should say, tonight. And this will be an absolutely great game that I think will determine who wins the Lincoln Land Large side.
Absolutely. We'll talk all about it tonight on the View from the West Instant Reacts podcast. NUIC, boys, I'll throw it out there to you. Either one can jump on it. What's the story, the headline in the NUIC?
I think the interesting game is actually the non-conference game in the NUIC, which is Byron going on the road to Dupec. So Dupec will go to the Big Northern Conference next year. So 2 really strong 3A programs, doing battle in the non-conference game this year before they become conference rivals. But, Byron is not just the best in the 3 Rivers. They might be the best 3A team in the state of Illinois. And maybe even several classes up, they'd be one of the best teams in the state, because that program is that good right now. Dupec, though, is playing really well. That's a team that has been, go to the air and pass and spread it out a lot the last few years with the personnel they had. And now they've really kind of completely flipped that script, and they're almost running like a Wildcat type offense. And they have multiple guys that can carry the ball. Dermot Dolan was our player of the week a couple weeks ago. And man, he can really, not only can he fight through tackles, but he can run by you too. He's got a good combination of speed and that physicality that you see in the Northwest Upstate Illini. That's a lot of fun. Stockton at Galena is a great game here. Galena had a tough loss last week at Forreston, but I think there's still a lot of talent there. And obviously Stockton is the number 1 team in Class 1A right now. So they're playing really good football. Lena Winslow still playing really well. They're on the road at Morrison. So that's one to watch as well. Can Lena Winslow keep going? And Forreston at Eastland Pearl City. 2 really good teams there. Again, Mitch, are they both 3-2? Or no, Forreston's 4-1.
Yeah, that game is a must-win for EPC. Yeah, that's a must-win for EPC. We talk about teams that, there are going to be 5 or 6 teams out of the NUIC that make the playoffs. Forreston has been on the rise. They're 4-1 this year. They were 2-7 all of last year. EPC's lost a couple of games now, and their schedule the rest of the way out is not easy. So I think this is if Eastland personally wants to get back to the playoffs, they have to win this game. But the way Forreston's been running the ball, I really like Forreston in this game tonight.
Mitch, did your boss miss anything when it came to the NUIC?
Well, he took all the games. He just went through every single game. You know what? The one game he didn't mention, Dakota going to Fulton, 2 teams that are having tough years. Fulton is sitting at 0-5, which I don't think anybody expected. Yeah. I think their back half of their schedule gets a little bit easier. They play Dakota. They've got Morrison coming up. So, again, don't like to see a battle of winless or 1-win teams in this situation with Dakota, but there's still a lot to play for, and I think they can finish out the season strong.
All right, boys. I gotta say something nice, and I hope nobody's watching anymore. But I have had several people to say to me, like, how does Greg and Mitch know as much as they know about high school football? And I thought I probably had a smart ass remark, but it's true. Like you guys know what you're talking about when it comes to anything. I try to trick you and like stump you, and you guys are killing it and rocking and rolling. One last question for you. This week on Tuesday, Jake Brand was on the show, and he's an Iowa State Cyclone expert for us. And he mentioned that a popular dish in central Iowa that I've never heard of is chili and cinnamon rolls. You are a bobblehead all of a sudden. This is something that you've heard of.
This was huge in Morrison. Yes. And
Really?
I have explained this to people out here in Ohio, and they've never heard of it. So I don't know where it originates from. I don't know why it's popular. It works. If you've never had chili and a cinnamon roll, you can make it pretty easily. So no, it's absolutely a thing. And it's so funny if I explain it to someone and they have no idea what I'm talking about, like you in this situation, because I have no idea where it came from or where it exists.
I'm not against it. I think I like a cinnamon roll and I like chili. Do you like, do you dip it, or do you just like how do you eat it?
No, it's just kind of like a complementary of one another, I guess, in an odd way.
Right.
To me, no, you don't dip it, but
that's because everything I've gotten feedback wise, and I'm sorry that the View from the West segment went into this, but is that it's a central Iowa thing and a western Iowa thing that hasn't gotten to eastern Iowa. So it must have skipped eastern Iowa and western Illinois and went to Morrison.
It's in Northwest Illinois, apparently.
Wow.
I would love to know more. Maybe we should put that out on our X feed or something, just a poll as to who's had it, because I would love to know where it's kind of located at.
It's amazing the feedback of like Andrew Lehman with the John Deere Classic texted me during that show, and he's like, "You've never had cinnamon roll and chili?" I'm like, "What? You act like it's peanut butter and jelly. Like, listen to what you just said. It's cinnamon roll and chili." Greg, tell people about the View from the West Instant Reacts podcast tonight. It's growing, it's getting bigger, it's getting better, and I think people are really enjoying it. Tell people how they get involved and all that kind of stuff.
So tonight, 10:15 live on our YouTube channel. Just head to YouTube, search View from the West. You'll find our YouTube channel. Of course, if you're not subscribed yet, certainly go ahead and do that.
Shame on you if you're not.
So, yes, head to YouTube. You can find us there, or you can find a link on X. We'll post it all day throughout the day, so you can find the link there. But no, we'll go live at 10:15. We'll have scoreboards. We'll have live coaches' interviews and reaction. I've already talked to both head coaches from Stark County and from Anawan Weathersfield. The winner of that game will come on. The winner of Farmington and Macomb. So we'll really have the LLC covered, because I think that's kind of where the marquee matchups come from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get, if we could get him on the line tonight, I'd love to hear from Matt Schuckman, because Matt Schuckman is going to Camp Point Central hosting Brown County. 1A schools, both are 5-0, and I think somewhere down the line, if one of our teams make it to a state championship game, there's a chance that they're going to be playing one of those schools. So I'd love to get Matt Schuckman on the line to talk a little 1A football. And he will always be good to talk Quincy or to talk Macomb, or, Matt Schuckman is a wealth of knowledge in himself. So those are kind of the things we got cooking so far. But Dazzo, if you're in and, willing to jump on for the whole time, that'd be great.
No, I'll be here. It's a crazy,
All right.
weird Friday where I've been doing some PA. I've been doing Iowa football, obviously, and MediaCom, and I got nothing to do. You'd think I'd be like, I should take my wife out to dinner or something like that, but
Nope.
sorry, honey, Greg needs me. So
I think I got to talk to Ty Taylor. We should get him on tonight too as well.
yeah, you know what? And of course we're producing the show here on Off the Air, but I would love to talk to either Coach Little or Coach Welch. The winner of that game would
Yeah.
be interesting as well.
That's true.
Especially a fired up Nick Welch. If UT can win that game, oh, that would be worth the price of admission. I'd watch that. So, anyways, that's the beauty of it, is that we kind of, and it's crazy because you came up with these ideas, and then next thing you know, like I'm watching last week and I can't even get in because like we have coach after coach after. What was last week? So people who've never seen it, we went. We had Sam Graves on. We had. I'm trying to think.
Sam Graves and Jeremy Adolphson, both from the Three Rivers.
Yep.
We had both athletic directors from Rock Ridge and Newman who had a bet on the line for who was going to win the game.
Guy Derricks.
We had Sean Downey from Guy Derricks was on. Sean Downey from Stockton. Obviously, Guy Derricks from Riverdale. Who else did we have in there? I'm trying to. There was
Brian
was there somebody
Stocking.
else?
Brian
Stocking
was on?
of course.
I mean, that's worth the price. So honestly, it's fantastic. It's more than just your normal regular Friday night high school show, and that's not bashing anybody, but it's literally a different experience, more in depth than you can possibly imagine. And we love to talk back with you guys. So there's a chat on there as well. So come join the community, have a bunch of fun tonight. Instant Reacts, the View from the West Instant Reacts. I'll put it on my social media as well. Mitch, I'm gonna miss you. But for this Friday night, I'm a Greg guy. I mean, I'll just when one's away, I might as well kiss up to the other one, right?
Right. No, that's completely fair. So the show is in great hands with everyone, all hands on deck here, and looking forward to listening to you guys talk about a great week of football.
I'm hoping I can be a good assistant. That's all I'm going to say. We'll leave it at that. Bye, guys. Have a good Friday night. We'll be back. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Friday, right here in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Friday in the Quad Cities. Friday, October 3rd, week 6 of the high school football season, and 6 weeks that I haven't talked to my good friend Tom Johnston in any of those 6 weeks. It's about time. Where have you been?
It's been nice, hasn't it?
you haven't missed me at all, have you?
No, not one bit.
Thank you for doing this. You'll
Absolutely.
be here tonight.
I am back here.
At Rocky Moline, you've covered the area a little bit. What is, when I say Rocky Moline to you, and you've, how many years? 40 some years in the newspaper?
43 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
When I say Rocky Moline, what comes to your mind?
Oh, just obviously the rivalry. I mean, just the hatred.
That's,
right? You hate to.
If we're being honest,
hate to say hate,
yeah.
but there's a lot of animosity there. I've got some good friends. Grew up with me in Rock Island.
Mm-hmm.
Sent their kids through Moline schools.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you do it? And he's like, oh, it hurts. It hurts to put on that maroon.
Yeah.
But that's just the mentality. But it's also what makes it fun. It's what makes it fun when Moline plays UT, when Rock Island plays Alleman.
Yeah.
Those storied Bettendorf PV, the storied rivalries that just make sports in the Quad Cities what they are.
So I'm going to be the cliche guy and say, throw the records out the window when these two teams meet, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But I don't know if
you can feel free
to
do that, but you look at the numbers this year, and I'm not sure. Moline, after what Moline did to Quincy last week down there, that opened my eyes, and it was like, oh, okay, this Moline team may be better than we thought.
I thought that there was like a group of teams battling for the Western Big Six, and then like a little group, and maybe it was Quincy, UT, Moline, those. And now I just felt like Moline last week said, okay, bye guys. Like you guys can figure out who the next teams are. Like, is it that point? Because you look at offensively, defensively, and special teams. I've not seen a team dominated like that on all three phases, and it was at their place. And they're really good too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good football team.
Yeah.
Moline more impressive. This is more about Moline than it is Rock Island, isn't it?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Well, it's got to be about Rock Island because of where that program is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off a 51-0 win over Alleman, okay, that was impressive, but let's see what they do when they get to the upper echelon of the conference.
Yeah.
So far it hasn't been real good for the Rocks. Did they hit a turning point? Was that a turning point last week, or does reality hit hard tonight?
Have you been here since this?
Not since they got the track line.
Okay, but you have been since
I've seen, yes.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, as a guy who's been in this, and this was the last one. Like,
yes.
It was the last one. I know there was those I won't say old, but those traditionalists. Let's say that.
Sure.
That wanted to keep it grass and all that kind of stuff. This is why you don't, right? I mean,
absolutely. Well, and when Moline first came over here earlier this season, I was talking to some of the players, and they were like, the difference in practice and how much easier it is on their bodies to be on this as opposed to the grass practice field over at the high school. They said, you're not worrying about, stepping in a hole and twisting an ankle. The next morning, my knees feel so much better. I can get up and walk.
Yeah.
That's where this makes the biggest difference, I think. Not just on Friday night.
No.
I mean, how can you not be impressed by what they did with this? But you look at all the other schools, starting with, Rock Island was probably the first one to go turf on this side of the river.
Yeah, I think so.
And
seems like.
And then you look at what they did out at North Scott a couple years ago, and it's like, kids around here got it pretty good.
Yeah, well, and I even look at, I thought they did a good job here, and I've said it several times in the show, of you go to Geneseo, and it's got the nuances of what they needed, but it still has that tradition. And I think this is, that big old building right there, Wharton Fieldhouse, helps with any tradition you might need to have.
Absolutely
But I think that helps out a ton that you have that, and I think the brick matches, I think they did a good job tying everything in, but just making it look, and just feasibility-wise for the players themselves. And we joked, it was like, and Cuff and I used to go, it's Browning Field because the grass is browning by week 4. It shouldn't be. That's not why we named it that. So I think overall it gives the athletes what they need. And we mentioned in the other segments the baseball players can come over and track and all those. I mean, everybody can take advantage and use this thing as well.
Absolutely.
I want to get your thoughts. I know you've been bouncing back and forth across the river, every side. I wanted to talk about a few games in the MAC a little bit, or the MAC. Gosh,
MAC. I wish
right?
it was MAC. This district stuff blows.
There's not a lot locally.
It's
people are going out of town.
Yeah.
Bettendorf hosts Cedar Falls. seems like an intriguing matchup, a good matchup for Cedar Falls team that's already beaten Pleasant Valley.
Right.
Bettendorf an opportunity tonight to kind of get their things going in the right direction with districts in full swing.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the district plays a misnomer in 5A because they use the power index for playoffs. So, you know, that makes this just as big of a game from the power index standpoint.
Sure.
But this is going to be a good test for Bettendorf. You know, I've been waiting for them to have that statement win.
Yeah.
And, you know, it could be tonight, or who knows?
Yeah.
You know, it may be Cedar Falls coming into town and saying, hey, not so fast, Bulldogs.
Two great programs when it comes to tradition and history and good all the time. North Scott seems to be finding themselves and moving in the right direction. They've won 2 straight, 3-2 overall. They go to Western Dubuque, and that for that district is such an important game. And they're now district rivals, but they haven't been district rivals before this year, and they already have a really good rivalry. They almost play a couple times a season, it seems like.
Right.
I think a really big test for Tony Stewart and what they want to do at North Scott.
Absolutely. You know, it's with the new coaching staff. Obviously, there are changes out there, personnel changes on the field, off the field. Just give them time.
Yeah,
it'll happen. You know, it's North Scott. They're not going to go anywhere.
Right. No,
they'll be there eventually. So, you know, hopefully, I know they had some hiccups early in the season, and now couple nice wins on the road at Clear Creek Amana, which is a big win for them. And you know, just being able to stack those wins now tonight could be a big win for them if they go up there and get that.
No, absolutely. Tom Johnston from the Quad City Times Dispatch, Rock Island Argus, joining me right now. You look at Assumption; they're a team that started the season off 0-2. And now they've won 3 straight, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, yep.
And they got a big district road ahead. They go to Maquoketa tonight, but they're going to start paying dividends now as we hit the district play.
Absolutely, and I think you kind of saw it the second half out at Geneseo. First half didn't go their way, had some issues in that first half, fell behind early. And down 21-0, something like that at halftime to Geneseo. Came back in the second half and pretty much dominated that second half.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, okay, we may have just seen the switch flip there too.
Sure.
So, and now, you know, they've got to seemingly have figured it out and got it rolling right now.
Yeah, obviously some other big games. Central DeWitt losing for the first time last week. They get back at it, see if they can bounce back.
Yeah, but who did they lose to?
To Assumption.
To Assumption.
Absolutely. And you know what's crazy is that Central DeWitt hadn't started 4-0 in a season since like 2008, and they had never beaten Assumption. And to be that close last week, I think this week is super important to see if they can kind of get back on track and get back to those winning ways. So yeah, obviously a game at Brady Street Stadium, a lot of games on the Iowa side of the river tonight. So make sure you check out the Quad City Times Dispatch, Rock Island Argus for those kind of things as well. And it should be a fun week. Number 6. Is it crazy to say it's week 6 of the high school football season?
Does, yeah. You go off the football field and we're already in regionals for golf.
Yeah.
Sub-state qualifier on Monday in Davenport. Sectional golf on the Illinois side. Moline hosts at Short Hills on Monday.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, hold on a second.
Yeah. Well, we're looking at college basketball. There's media days coming and high school basketball starting to start practices here real soon and all that kind of stuff. So it comes and it comes fast. I think we should be prepared for it every year and we're not. I'm going to make you be my...
I think we work too hard. That's why it goes so fast.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said about me.
Well, not you.
That
was not the royal we. That did not include Matt Randazzo, because God only knows he does not work very hard.
Clip that. I'm using that for a while. I want to talk. You're my celebrity guest picker this week. I don't know if you know that, but we like to go through
thanks for dumping that on me right now.
Games, some NFL games, and all that kind of stuff. No Bears this week in the NFL, so we can't
My prediction, Bears don't lose this week. How about that?
That's a good pick.
I'm sticking with it.
Did you stay up long enough to watch last night's game?
I did not see any of it.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Some of us were too busy working last night. We couldn't watch games.
You got the Niners that are injured all over the place. And they come back and somehow, some way go to LA, although it's not going to LA when everything's red there.
Yeah.
So many San Francisco fans there, but and get the win there as well. You're a Cardinal fan, aren't you? Are you a Cub fan?
Well, I was a Cardinals fan.
What happened?
Until they get their act figured out, I can't root for that.
Are you a free
team.
agent?
No.
I was gonna say, hop on the, because I haven't even
No,
mentioned.
I am not jumping on any bandwagons. I'm still a Cardinals fan. I'm just a disgusted Cardinals fan right now.
I get you.
Yeah.
You've been spoiled. That's your problem.
Well,
Cub fans, we were never spoiled.
That's true too.
Cubs win yesterday as well. I hadn't even talked about that, but they move on to the NLDS. They go to just 90 miles north, whatever it is, to Milwaukee. Game one coming up, I think 4 p.m. on Saturday. Brewers and Cubs. So I think that's who most Cub fans. I wanted the Brewers. I don't know if the Cubs. I hope the Cubs themselves want the Brewers as much as like Cub fandom does.
I think the Cubs are just happy to still be playing because from what I have read and seen, they were like a couple of bad calls away from being in serious trouble yesterday.
Yeah, well, there was one. There was a bad call, and it's funny because next year they're doing the ABS system.
Yep.
And they talked about it, they could just pound tap their, and they're not doing balls and strikes every single pitch with a machine. But if they think they got a bad call, they can 2 times a game they can challenge it.
Yeah.
And I think they would have. Yeah. Yes, but you know what? Carson Kelly framed that very well, and there's something to be said about that, isn't there? Like, as an old school baseball guy, like, you teach kids to frame pitches, and it wasn't like it was an egregious.
Yes.
Yes, it was a bad call. I'm a Cub fan. I'm trying to talk my way around.
And you're welcome for Carson Kelly.
Yes.
A former Cardinal.
He's been a godsend.
So, yeah.
We'll take
Comes up with a big home run in game 1, and, I mean, you're welcome.
We'll take him.
Plus you beat Mike Schilt, who got fired as the Cardinals manager. Yeah. So, see, there was some stuff stacking up there for going in the Cubs' favor.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
So, Cubs and Brewers start things up this weekend up in Milwaukee. All right, so let's do, we'll do 2 college and then 3 pros. And we'll do the local ones. Illinois on the road at Purdue. Recently, they won, bounced back last week against USC. They have Ohio State coming to town next week, so it's that classic trap game between they go on the road to football as like a protected rivalry. And I'm a Quad City kid that just wants to see Iowa and Illinois play every year. But with that being said, they go down to Purdue. Yeah. Is it a trap game? Can Illinois survive? Will it be closer than people think? What do you know, TJ?
I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you, but you go back and look at the last trip Illinois made to Indiana.
Yeah.
It didn't come out very well for the Illini.
No.
But I think
school, hopefully.
I think that was a wake-up call. Obviously, a different program that they're playing. Brett's got things rolling down in Chambana, so my pick is going to be Illinois by 8.
Yeah. You know what? I picked against Illinois.
What is the line on the game, by the way?
I think it was 9.5.
Illinois? Okay.
Well, look at you. You're right on it. You are Vegas.
Sure.
I picked against Illinois last week in the NestGas. By the way, get your NestGas pick 'em filled out ASAP. Thank you to Hungry Hobo for sponsoring that. But I won't do that again. I think Illinois, it'll be closer than people think. I think they pull away late. They win that game as well. Iowa State goes on the road. And I'll compare Iowa State to, remember 2015 Iowa? Where they went undefeated, but everybody was waiting for them to lose. This is what I feel like with Iowa State. Like, everybody's waiting for them to lose, and they figure out a way to win. I like Iowa State on the road again. And then all I know about Cincinnati is what I saw when they blew a game to Nebraska to start the season at Arrowhead Stadium. Give me Iowa State to figure out a way to win. Your thoughts on Cincinnati and Iowa State?
Why not Iowa State? I mean, they're, like you say, they're finding ways to win. I think you got to call that the Matt Campbell effect.
Mm-hmm.
He's got them believing in themselves, so why not? And how about Iowa State with a Quad City kicker now, huh?
Right?
Is that
Chase
awesome?
Smith.
Chase
Very
Smith
cool.
from Eldridge, a walk-on, is now their starting kicker.
He was the starting quarterback last year at this time at Nebraska. Or not Nebraska, Northscott.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
And now
and kicking, which, you know what, nobody ever paid much attention to his kicking duties.
Yeah.
I think he
was
close to perfect on PATs.
He was 4 for 4 last week when it came to kicking,
Yeah.
and then he kicked a shorter field goal. But somebody said to me, "Oh, it's not like he did anything." That's confidence to get your PATs done, to get because he could have a much bigger kick this week on the road in Cincinnati and all that kind of stuff. So nice to see those go through that. I think it's a fantastic story.
I think so too, and he's a fantastic story too, with his background, being an overseas kid coming back so he can play football. And, you looked at him out at Northscott and, he didn't exude bravado. He went out and got the job done.
Yeah.
just a calm, cool, collected kid, and I think that's going to pay dividends for him in Ames. If he gets put on the spot at some point in the game.
Oh, absolutely, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Let's go to the NFL. We mentioned no Bears, no Packers. We'll start early in the morning. Vikings and Browns over in London. Vikings won convincingly a couple weeks ago. They didn't look great last week. They lose to Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. The Browns beat the Packers. And then they go to Detroit and they lose. Although I watched that entire game and it was 34-10. It was a much closer game than that. Their defense is really, really good.
Yeah.
Early morning, 8:30 start here.
Well, it's an NFC North rival, so of course go Browns.
Right? I like that.
You can't root for a North team, but then you also have to think, oh crud, the Bears at some point are going to have to play the Browns too.
Yeah, that defense is really good.
You're like, and especially after what the Bears did last week, the way they played out in Vegas.
You know what, though?
But
they
got the
won.
win.
Exactly. I got in trouble with some Bears fans, and
Yeah.
I did. But and I don't like the Bears. I'm the first person to say it. But those are games they didn't win last year.
No.
They just didn't, TJ, and they found ways to win. Ben Johnson's changing things. There's some things he's doing that I think there's going to be some growing pains with him, but I think he's probably the right guy.
Yeah.
It's everyone thought, okay, they have Ben, flip a switch, they're going to win 10 games.
God, no.
And that's not how it happens in the NFL.
He's a first-year head coach.
Yes.
He's got growing pains that he's going through.
Yep.
He's trying to turn Caleb Williams into an NFL quarterback, which is not an easy task.
Yeah.
You just watch him, watch that team, and you're like, okay, there are some differences, but he's still got a long ways to go before
it's a
he
work
becomes
in progress.
absolutely.
And you mentioned there's a difference between being a talented human being, which he is, and an NFL quarterback.
Absolutely.
I think that you hit the right term.
Yeah.
NFL quarterback, it's upstairs and then physical talent, all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to think as we go because we don't have. Let's go. I'm trying to think of some good ones. Seattle and it's Tampa Bay at Seattle, both 3-1. Tampa Bay makes the flight out there. Baker Mayfield's playing really well. Sam Darnold's the quarterback at Seattle. They're 3-1 as well. They always play good out in Seattle. Your thoughts?
I think they're both doing it with smoke and mirrors.
I hope so, as an NFC guy.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. Both 3-1 right now. We'll see how long those ones stay in that loss column. Home field advantage. I go with Seattle.
Last one, and because I don't have the schedule in front of me because I'm an unprepared journalist, TJ, and this is
no, you're not a journalist. You're a podcaster. Don't even go there. Don't pat your. Don't hurt yourself patting yourself on the back.
Does that count as a journalist or no? Probably not.
No, that's entertainment.
Thank you for calling me entertaining.
I didn't know. I didn't call you entertaining. I said that was entertainment.
I get you. Let's go Lions and Bengals. I know it's the biggest line of the week at 10 points, and the Lions are. But we're living in a world, TJ, in which the Detroit Lions are a 10.5 point favorite on the road. That's the world we live, which is mind-boggling to me.
When was the last time that happened?
I don't, as a 46-year-old Lions fan, it's just I still don't trust it because the Bengals have been awful and they don't have Joe Burrow. But I still don't trust the Lions are going to be without their top two cornerbacks most likely. They still have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It's in Cincinnati. I should be as confident as can be. I should use them as my survivor pick, and I didn't. Your thoughts? Can you talk me off the ledge? And the Lions are fine and they'll win out in Cincinnati.
The Lions are fine and they'll win in Cincinnati.
Do you believe that, or you just tell me that?
I'm just telling you that.
All right, tell me the truth then.
But you got Cincinnati at quarterback with their quarterback issues. My God, Burrow can't stay healthy. They stick with Browning. They could have gone out and made a move by now. Obviously, you got to think they're not going to at this point. Otherwise, they would have done it already. So I don't know, man. That's living life on the edge in Cincinnati, and you got to figure Detroit. And just too much talent.
It's weird because they mentioned that they have talent, which is weird to think. We're going to go up to the game. My son figured it out yesterday. We're going up to the Vikings game. It's in like a month. It's like it's Halloween's that Friday, Saturday, so it's November 2nd. And my son's like, Dad, if the Tigers and the Cubs make the World Series, game 6 or 7 could be one more in Detroit. Thank you for that's exactly what I just did. I just laughed at him.
You are live. I want to live where you do,
Right?
Randazzo.
Like,
I know you're Southwest Rock Island, man, but you are somewhere out there in the stratosphere,
universe, right?
man. Yeah.
I said that's nice to think about. Let's just go to the Lions game and worry about all that stuff later. I got to ask
How
you
much would you pay for a ticket for a Tigers Cubs World Series?
Because I
game?
do. People ask me like, "Are you a Tigers fan?" And I'm like, I'm a Cub fan, but like I do like the Tigers. My dad was born in Detroit. That's how I became a Lions fan. So I root for them, but like obviously I'd be rooting for the Cubs. I can only imagine like there being, and they wouldn't be able to do. Yeah, you could like it'd probably be the Lions game, and then you'd literally walk across the street. That game would get done at 4, and then the baseball game would probably be at night.
Prime time game.
So it'd be like
sure.
an 8 o'clock. So like.
How
much would I pay? A lot. How much would my wife let me pay?
It'll get snowed out. You watch.
That's probably the case. It's probably the case. Before I let you go, we've been talking about this week on the show. Jake Brend is my cyclone expert, and on Tuesday he brought up he's going to Cincinnati to cover the game, and he brought up Skyline Chili in Cincinnati. It's the type of chili they eat, and it's on noodles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he said it's not like he's like I love the traditional cinnamon rolls and chili that I eat at home. And I did like a double take, and he's like, "You never heard of cinnamon rolls and chili?" And I'm like, "I've never heard of that." And now we've come to find out, because I've gotten plenty of people on social media to tell me, and Mike Morrissey just said it, that cinnamon rolls and chili is a thing. Have you ever heard of this?
Yes.
Have you done it?
No, but years ago, you might remember the name Mike Agnes.
Yeah.
Was on staff with us here in the Quad Cities, and big Cincinnati Reds fan. And opening day baseball tradition, when he was with us, we would bring food into the newsroom: hot dogs, chili, spaghetti.
So you've heard of the spaghetti and chili, but
And
have you heard of
yeah.
have you heard of the cinnamon rolls? And
yes,
chili?
yeah.
But you've never done it.
I've never done it.
Would you do it?
Well, I like chili and I like cinnamon rolls, so why
what,
not?
What we're going to do next week, and he doesn't even know this yet, but I'm going to get my food expert in the Quad Cities is Julian Vandervelde. That's where I go for like my food advice. So I think Julian and I next week sometime on the show are going to try.
Now, how can you say that when you've got Snoop?
But Snoop can cook it.
Oh, Julian can eat it. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Snoop's
by food expert. Okay,
I'm talking
intake.
Eating intake,
okay,
not cooking.
Okay,
no. Snoop is I'm going to take our producer at the Iowa Radio Network, Hawkeye Radio Network, Corey Sheets, loves chips and salsa. So next home game, I said I'm bringing you up some Snoop's chips and salsa.
Absolutely,
it's the best chips and salsa.
Yeah.
You'll be here tonight.
You're welcome, Snoop. By the way,
there you go. You'll be here tonight.
Yep.
Tell people how they follow you on social media and all that kind of stuff if they want updates and all those kind of things.
At TJ_DA.
Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
I know. That's the thing about it.
And I'm going to say it on Twitter.
I used to do it all the time.
Not X.
I just said to somebody, they're like, because my platforms are, I say people watch mostly on Twitter, and people are like, it's X. I'm like, Twitter X, same thing. But like that's where the majority, a lot of people watch the show on X. So check him out there. A big game between Rock Island and Moline tonight here at Browning Field. Should be a good game when it comes to rivalries and all that kind of stuff. Elsewhere in the Western Big Six, we kind of talked about it. Quincy and UT might be the best matchup of the night over at the Soul Bowl. Two teams are probably a little ticked off when it comes to what happened to Quincy, and then UT's lost 2 straight heartbreak games. So a big game there as well. Geneseo goes down to Galesburg. Geneseo's playing good football, TJ.
Geneseo's a good team.
Yeah.
They've got some things to work with out there, and like Mike said, after Moline handled them here a couple weeks ago, that's a playoff football team.
Yeah.
And, probably so.
No, absolutely. And then the other element goes to Sterling. The track, all those kind of things. Don't forget, tonight we have the Instant Reacts podcast. View from the West, Instant Reacts. It comes on at 10:15. Greg Armstrong, myself, Ty Taylor. We'll have coaches from around the area. Brian Stacking usually chimes in. All of those kind of fun things. So join us there. If you're subscribed to the Off the Air channel, make sure you subscribe to View from the West. We'll get it all out to everybody. But a couple thousand people watch that almost every week. Over 1,000 to 2,000 people, which is a ton of fun. So do that as well. No Iowa radio this week, so I can't promote that, but I will say this. Next Iowa home game for the Hawkeye Tailgate Show will be live from Big Grove Brewery at 4 o'clock next Saturday. Our guest, Jan Jansen from the Iowa Hawkeyes will join us at Big Road Brewery. So if you're in the Iowa City area, stop by, say hi to Coach Jensen. That's not this Saturday, bye week for the Hawkeyes. That's the following Saturday as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a great week. If you missed some of the shows, Tim DeWhite was on, Josh Sash was on, Pat Anger was on. We've had a bunch of great guests, Jeremy Adolphson, local guests as well. So go check out some of the shows over the weekend. We will be back here on Monday with a brand new edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Thank you guys. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you then.